Not yet. Brand. Sorry about that. How's it going, everyone? Hello. Welcome to all of you. My name is Jesse, and I love teaching people how to draw and how to paint. I want to welcome all of you to today's, it's a cross between a Q&A around the membership opening. My art membership doors are opening next week, for those of you that haven't heard. And it's, of course, a little tutorial where we're going to be drawing and painting this cute little Christmas painting. So I'm on just a little bit early to make sure people have enough time to jump on. Sometimes the notification from Facebook takes a little while to go out into the world, and so it takes a little bit of time for people to find the session. So I wanted to jump on just a little bit early. I'm also monitoring the feed on my laptop. So whenever you see me looking down, it's because I'm checking out your comments, checking out your questions, checking in on the feed, and all of that other good stuff. So as people are jumping on, that's what I'm doing. I'm checking things out over here. I'd like to see if somebody could give me a sound check. That would be fantastic. If somebody could let me know, hey, Jesse, we can hear you just fine. Let me get over to the comment section here. There we go. My producer. There we go again. Oh. All right. How's it going, everybody? My apologies. Oh, no, it's not going. There we go. Oh, no. I think we're good now. Hi, everyone. How's it going? My name is Jesse. I was just sitting here talking to myself for about 3 minutes. I thought I'd started the feed, but apparently not. So I think I fixed it. I think we're on now. So if somebody could give me a sound check, just kind of let me know that you can see me and you can hear me. That would be fantastic. This way I know for sure that we're in business. All right. Hang on one second, everybody. I'm looking down at my laptop. If you guys wonder what I'm doing when I look down, basically I'm looking at my laptop. I'm monitoring the feed right here in front of me so I can see your questions, your comments, etc. So that is why you see me looking down from time to time. I'm looking over. There we go. Okay. Looks like we're in business. Could somebody please give me a sound check? Hello, Terry. All right. Awesome. There we go, Tina. Thank you so much. All right. So I spent about 3 minutes talking to myself. I thought I was already live. And I kind of went into my little spiel. So I don't know if that actually went through or not. But anyhow, my name is Jesse. I teach people how to draw and how to paint here on Painting with Jesse. I have an art membership group called Finding Your Brushstroke here in Facebook. And that is opening its doors for just a short period starting this Monday. A lot of you that are on here today are here to hear a little bit about that. Okay, throughout our session today, I'm going to be taking questions and answering your question and answering them in between steps. Okay. I just want to tell you guys this coming Monday is when the doors open and then they close on Sunday. The doors won't be opening again until March of 2022. Okay. So for those of you that know, and to some of you that don't know, I opened the doors to my art membership in August. We launched in August. We've spent the last 3.5 months or so having a lot of fun in the group, enjoying sessions around drawing, art. I do technical trainings in there. I do things for kids and for adults in there. We have families that are in there. We got people of all ages that are in there enjoying a lot of really fun art stuff. Okay. Again, focused on painting with acrylic paints and drawing. I teach you both. And every month there's a whole bunch of different sessions that I put out. Tomorrow, I'm going to be posting a Q&A page here on Facebook. For those of you that are interested, you can go check things out there. It'll be one place where everybody can go see what's, kind of notifications, news, information about the membership. I'll have some examples of maybe the calendar that we usually, every month there's a calendar. At the beginning of the month, there's a calendar that I put out to all the members. And so I'll put up a sample of the calendar, and you can go on there just to kind of poke around, ask questions, see what it's about if you're not quite sure, but you're interested. You can go there and check it out. I will also be emailing this information to the people on the email list. If you'd like to be added to the email list, there's a link in the description of this video you can click on. It'll add you to the list, and you can get the information when I put out the official stuff out over the next couple of days. Like I said, the doors are open Monday, they close next Sunday, and then they won't open again until March. Okay, so if you want to make sure you get all that information, the details and directions on how you'll be joining, you want to join the email list. Okay, anyway, that's enough about that for now. Again, I'll be taking questions throughout the session in between the steps of what we're doing here. I'm going to look over the questions and I'll answer as much as I can. If I happen to miss one of your questions, please ask it again. You'll see me when I'm looking at the comment section. Okay, all right. So enough about the membership for now. Let's talk about our little Christmas penguin that we're going to be doing today. This is going to be done into sessions. Today's session, we're going to paint in the background. Okay, I'm going to take a blow dryer and dry it, so we're not spending a lot of time waiting for anything to dry. And then we're going to draw the little penguin and some of the details. Okay, we're also going to be adding the little Christmas tree and some of the ornaments. Okay, that's all going to be done today. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Okay, so 10 a.m. in the morning, Pacific time, you want to make sure you're checking your time zone. We're going to go ahead and paint in the rest of the painting. So we're going to be doing this in 2 sessions, right? Okay, so if you miss any of this, it's all being recorded and you can watch either of the 2 sessions here in this event page. Okay, so if you miss anything or if you can't stay for the entire sessions, just come on back here. You'll be able to watch the sessions here. I'm going to leave them up probably for a couple of weeks, so you're going to have plenty of time to do this whenever you'd like. Okay, but what you're going to be needing today is just some paint for the background. Okay, I've got some light blue that I've already mixed together, just a really light blue that you're going to be using for that background. Yours could be a little darker, it could be a little lighter. Don't stress too much. As long as you've got a light blue, you are good to go. Okay, you're going to need a couple of different brushes. I'm using a 1-inch flat brush for to paint in all that background, and then I'm going to be using a 1/2-inch flat brush to paint in the snow at the bottom. Oh, of course, you'll also be needing a little bit of white paint for that snow. Now, those are things, the snow you can add tomorrow. You don't have to worry about adding it today. The main thing, though, is you do want some of that blue for the background. Okay, very important. Unless, of course, you're going to be painting your background in a different color. What I'm going to do when we get to the drawing part of it, I'm going to be using a chalk pencil to draw everything. Now, I did provide a stencil for those of you that were on the Painting with Jesse email list. I sent that stencil out. If you guys are using your stencil, fantastic, no worries. But when we get to the drawing part of it, I am going to go step by step in teaching those of you that want to learn the step-by-step how to draw. This is identical to what I do in the membership, and I just want you guys to kind of understand that this is, when we do these kinds of sessions in the membership, this is how I do it. I teach you how to draw everything step by step, and I provide stencils for everything that we do in there, so you have that option. If you're going to be using the stencil today, you want to be patient because I'm going to be taking you through those drawing steps. Okay, we're not going to get to the actual painting of the entire penguin tomorrow. We might have a little time to do the first base coat on some of the details on the inside, but we'll see where we are at the end of the session. We're going to be painting for about an hour. We're going to be creating for about an hour today. Okay, so paper towels, very important. Always want to have paper towels. I've got a Stay Wet palette to keep my paints on, keeps my acrylic paints from drying out on me. I mixed this light blue earlier, as I've already mentioned. So let's get right into it. Actually, I'm going to scroll down. What's happening, Nicole? What's happening, Rosa? Nava, how are you, Nava? 6-year-old Nava joining in today. And for those of you that want to, let me know where you're painting from, where you're joining from, please do so. I will give you a shout out if I see your comment. First one is Nava, 6-year-old Nava. How are you? Thank you for joining in. I know you guys were waiting, I think, a little early on the event page. The time zone thing is a little, can be a little confusing. What's happening, Brandy? How are you? How are you? Thank you for hanging out today. Elisa, how are you? Cool. Thank you for stopping by. I'm seeing some people that are in the membership jumping on to say hello. Anna, Barbara, what's happening? Hi, Barbara from Texas. Anna Alfano Beckley, how are you? Marcia. Thank you, Marcia. All right, let's get into it. I'll go back to the comments here in a bit and we'll continue. But don't forget, any questions around the membership, just put them in there. If I happen to miss your question, I'll get back to it ASAP. Also, I do go back once the video is over. I do go back through the questions, and if there's anything that I missed and I didn't answer during the video, I will answer it if you put it in the comment section. So if you have a question, put it in the comments. If you don't hear me answer you during the video, I will definitely go back to it and answer it. Now, I don't know that I'll get a chance to answer it later tonight, but it will be answered by the morning. Okay, just in case I miss your question. What's happening, Terry? And I can't say your name. Tsatsafulis. Tsatsafulis. Does that sound right? Hope I got it, Terry. Maybe I got it. Tsatsafulis from Sholo, Arizona. Awesome. Thank you. Hi, Sue Shelley Rollison. How are you? All right, here we go. Let's get right into this painting session. Let me change the view on my screen also so you guys have a better view of what I'm painting. There we go. There is that. Now let me get back over to the video. Okay, so I got my big 1-inch flat brush. Now what I like to do is I'll dip my brush in the water cup. I don't want to take the brush and dip it way down in the water. I just want to get the bristles wet. Then I bring a little bit of that water over. I'll mix it in with my paint. Now in this case, I'm going to do this a couple of times. I'll dip my I'll dip my brush into my water and bring a few droplets over. Just kind of like that. Mix it in really well. Now I've got a little bit of old paint in here, meaning paint that's been sitting in my studio for a bit. Haven't used it in a while, and it's clumped up a little bit. Sometimes paint will dry up and get a little bit clumpy. So I am dealing with a little bit of clumpy paint. You see me struggle a little bit trying to take some of those clumps off of the canvas. That's what I'm doing. Now what I'm doing right now is I'm simply taking my brush. I'm using the wide part of my brush like this, not the skinny part, but the wide brush, and I'm taking these long brush strokes back and forth, side to side. Okay, what you do when you what you create when you make these really long brush strokes like this is a nice smooth background. Okay, some people like to do this, and I'll sometimes do this, creating kind of a choppy background. That works too if that's what you like. But if you want a nice, clean, smooth background, just take your brush and do these really long brush strokes that go all the way across from one side of your canvas to the other. You can also do these vertically. You can go up and down all the way. Whatever you do, you want to try to stick with the same technique all the way through. So if you start with these long brush strokes, you want to continue with them all the way through. Otherwise, your background will look a little bit uneven. You'll be able to see it once it dries. You can tell the difference in the direction of your brush strokes. So here, if I do this, and then over here I'm doing circles. Not sure why I'd be doing circles, but if I was, once it's dried, you can see the difference. Okay, you can see that there's a difference between those. So again, just to maintain this really nice, long, clean background, we're going to go all the way across. And we are painting all the way down to the bottom, even though we're going to have some snow in the front here, bottom part. You want to paint all the way down to the bottom. All right. For you guys, if any of you are looking for the stencil, I did email that out to everybody that's on the Painting with Jesse email list. And then actually a few days ago, I emailed it to everybody that's on the membership waiting list. Okay, so if you guys are on those lists and you haven't checked your email, you want to make sure you go check that out because you have a link to the stencil waiting for you. Check your make sure you check your promotions file or your spam file. Sometimes my emails I notice go into people's spam files. So if you don't see it in the main on your main email file, simply go over to that and you'll probably see it there. Okay, but all right. Now I've got the front all done. Okay, what I want to do, I'm painting on an 11 by, sorry, this is a 10 by 10 inch canvas. I did not mention that at the beginning. You could use any size surface that you want. You could also use canvas boards or mixed media pads. I know some people like to use mixed media pads, wood board, etc., etc. But I am painting on a 10 by 10 inch canvas. What I'm going to do, I like to paint my edges, right? So I'll take my brush once the entire front of it is done. I'll come around and I'll paint my sides. So I'll do the top and the sides. Okay, and I just take my brush and I can just kind of come across like this. I like the way a finished canvas looks when it's got its edges painted, the sides painted like this. Now I'm going to stand up and do the same thing over on this side. Since I'm painting on an easel, I won't do this to the bottom edge. I will wait. That will be the very last thing I do. After I sign the piece tomorrow, I'm going to flip it and I'll paint the bottom of it. If I do it now, it'll stick to the bottom of the canvas. It'll act when I try to remove the canvas from the painting, it'll actually glue down to the bottom. And we don't want that to happen. Sometimes it'll damage the canvas. All right, so there we go. While I'm waiting for you guys to catch up, I'm going to take my brush. I'm going to keep it in my water cup here for a bit. Very important. I'm sure most of you already know acrylic paint dries very quickly. You don't want it to dry on your brushes. So what you want to do is in between steps is you want to have a water cup where you put your brush in there and just let that sit. Okay? All right. Let's see what we got. What's happening, Arnica, it looks like? Arnica. Okay. I think I got that right. Hopefully, if I mispronounce your names, folks, please forgive me. Verma, how's it going from Massachusetts? Amira. Hi, Amira from Massachusetts. Thank you for hanging out today. What's happening, Carrie from Minnesota? Good, Terry. All right, thank you. All right, what else do we got? I'm just scrolling up. I'm sure I've missed some comments, so I want to scroll up through here. Diane, how's it going? What's happening, Diane? Gloria, thank you, Gloria. Thank you for those stars. What's happening, Sandy? Okay, sounds good. No worries, Sandy. Come on back and paint when you can. Again, everything's being recorded, right? So if you guys can't watch the live sessions, you can come back to them. What's happening, Don? Super crazy week. Questionable weather causing us to change plans. Ooh, where are you, Don? Are you still? I know you were, I think, in the mountains last week, right? A couple of weeks ago when you were painting with us. You were painting with us from a cabin. Hi, Tina. What's up? Okay, fantastic. Going to scroll on down. Let's continue painting. Now, Minnesota, okay. Are you, I thought you were in a cabin or something, if I remember correctly. You were out, your husband was hunting, if I remember correctly. Anyway, I might be getting my details mixed up. My memory, you know how that goes. Cabin in Wisconsin. Okay, gotcha. All right, here's what I like to do. So that I don't wait the entire time for this to dry, even though acrylic paint dries very quickly. Maybe 10 minutes from now, this will be dry. I'm going to speed this up. I'm going to take my blow dryer, and we're going to sit here for a couple of minutes, if that, and speed up the drying process. Okay, cool. Now, one thing that I'm noticing is that my paint layer is a little bit on the translucent side. I can see a little bit of my canvas come through. So really quickly, this is all dried now. I can add a second layer on top of it. Most of the time with acrylic paint, we've got to do at least 2 layers of paint for things to look nice and even. Sometimes we've got to do 3. So I'm going to do what I just did on this first step and add a layer of paint. I'm going to go ahead and take my brush here and add a second layer. This won't take very long. We're going to speed this up. And then we're going to dry this again. Don't forget, folks, if you have any questions about the opening of the membership put them down in the comments. I am going to be emailing out all the particulars to the people on the mailing list tomorrow, people that are on the membership mailing list. Okay, if you're on the Painting with Jesse page mailing list, I'm not sending you any information. I know some of you, you jumped onto the membership mailing list because you're interested in the mailing list for that. If you're on my Painting with Jesse page mailing list, you're not necessarily interested in membership. So I'm only sending the particulars to the people on the membership mailing list. Things like how you'll be joining, the details around how to cancel for, as part of the membership, you can cancel anytime you want. You have full control of your membership. It is month to month, unless you decide to do the yearly plan, which is you pay 10 months for 12 months for the price of 12. So you get a 2-month discount if you join for the year. Again, recurring automatic payments, but you can cancel at any time. You have full control of that. Anyhow, more details. I'll send a detailed email. It's going to be a little bit on the long side, but I got to make sure everything's in there tomorrow. And I will be doing a Q&A page here on Facebook where you can click on and see examples of the stuff that we do in there. You'll see a sample calendar and that sort of stuff. Okay? But all right, so here we are with our second layer. As soon as I'm done here, I'm going to go ahead and grab my blow dryer and dry this so it dries quickly. Again, what I'm trying to do with the second layer is remove that blotchiness that I saw after that first layer dried. Acrylic paint is translucent, meaning you can see through it. So I had some of that white of the canvas coming through, and that's okay. Some people like that, and sometimes with some of my paintings, I'm okay with it. For this one though, I want my background to be nice and even and bright, light blue all the way through. All right. There we go. Sounds good, Terry. Fantastic. If you guys are interested, if you're not already part of the membership email list, in the description of this video, there's a link that you can click on. At the top, there's a couple of spots where the link is there. Click on that. You'll add your name to the list, and then tomorrow you'll get a communication along with everybody else. It'll be sometime in the afternoon when I send it out, but you'll get a communication with all the particulars around that, okay? What's happening, Tristan, Chris, and Tori in Rhode Island? Thank you guys for joining in. I really appreciate you guys being here. Hope you're having a little fun with me today. All right, here we go. Blow dryer. Okay, there we are. Much better, much cleaner, much more even. Like I said, sometimes a third coat is necessary. Sometimes even a fourth coat is necessary. It just depends on the quality of your paint, etc. So we're good here. I'm good with what I've got. Whoops, let's see. I just lost the feed here. Give me a second. There we go. Hi, Julie. No worries, Julie. Thank you for stopping in and saying hi. Hopefully you're getting a little chance to paint along today. Hey, Sheila, how's it going from Manitoba, Canada? What's up, Sheila? Okay, so we're going to get into the drawing part of it now. If you have the stencil, this is where you're going to be. If you haven't yet, right? If you got the stencil and you haven't done it yet, this is where you would trace it on to your canvas or whatever surface you're using. I'm going to be teaching you how to draw this step by step. Okay, it takes a little bit of time to go through the process. So please be patient. If you're using the stencil and you finish, or you've already got your image stenciled on, the main bulk of the painting process will be done tomorrow morning. Again, the second session to this is tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Pacific time. Okay, it'll be right here on the same event page where you're watching this right now. So I'm going to be using a chalk pencil, okay, chalk pastel pencil for this. It erases nicely, which is why I like to use these. You can also use a regular number 2 pencil. You could use chalk. One of my favorite things to use is actually a piece of basic chalk. Again, with chalk, really easy to erase, so you can make corrections. Now, I would be using chalk today, but the penguin has some kind of small detail, and these bigger chalks, I can't get a really tiny skinny edge. And for like things like maybe the little smaller areas, it might be a little tough to get some skinny lines in there. So anyway, you could use that regular pencil, charcoal pencil, pastel chalk pencil, etc., etc., etc. So let's take a look at our penguin. Anytime you're going to be drawing something from a reference image, a reference picture, a painting like this, you always want to kind of assess it first. Basically, with our penguin, we have 2 big parts. We have the belly, right, the body, and then we have the head. Those are the 2 main parts to our little penguin. You always want to look at the overall picture and then the overall shapes. The body is a basic U shape. You got a big letter U right here. Okay, and then the head is just kind of an oval, right? A little oval shape. So really easy, right? Nothing too crazy. What you want to do first whenever you're going to draw something is make sure that you're leaving yourself enough space, enough area to be able to draw everything, right? You don't want to start adding lots of detail right from the get-go, because if you find out that you made your image too large or too small, then you're going to have to erase and start over again. So what you want to do first is just kind of block out the areas that you're going to be using on your surface. So the body's about, on my 10 by 10 inch canvas, the body's about 4 inches tall, from here to about the middle of the scarf, let's say. I know that the body's going to be down here somewhere at the bottom, so I'm just going to draw a little line across. Nice and loose. I can easily come in there and erase that, okay? I'm not pressing down really hard. It's just a nice little line that I can erase. And I know the body, again, the body goes up about 4 inches, and I'm just going to mark off about where that would be. Again, that would end up being about, that probably went a little high on Mr. Penguin here, but that's about where the scarf is going to be, okay, the middle part of the scarf. So what I'm going to do now, I've got the bottom part of his body, and we got the top part. I'm going to draw a nice little U shape, okay? And if you want, you can even draw where you think the sides are, the sides of his little body. So we'll go like this. We got the outer edges of the body, and then we got the top part of where his body is going to be. Now we can just connect everything. Okay, so we're going to go like this. Notice I'm grabbing my pencil back here, nice and loose. If you're more comfortable drawing it up here, it gives you a little bit more control, you can. Some people like to put their finger on the canvas and do this as they're drawing, because it helps keep your hand from shaking. Whatever's comfortable for you, there's no right or wrong. I'm just going to take this around like this, connect my lines up in here, right up at the top. It goes in a bit, narrows in just a little bit. I'm not worried about the scarf right now. We're going to add the scarf in a little bit later, but that's what we're starting with. There's the body of our little penguin. So Shane, on the painting today, we're just going to be drawing this in. We're going to be drawing the penguin. So we did the background. We're drawing the penguin in. We're drawing the little tree in, all the ornaments. Most of the details on the penguin are going to get done, except for some of the small stuff that we're not going to do until after it's painted. And if there's time, we're going to paint for about 1 hour and 15 minutes. If there's time, we're going to add the first layer of paint to some of the penguin's body. Okay? But tomorrow morning, we finish up. Okay, so there's the penguin's little body. What we're going to do now is we're going to draw this part of the head. Now, yes, we're going to have a little scarf that goes in here somewhere. We're not worried about that right now. We're going to paint. We're just going to draw. We're going to keep it simple. So here's the little head comes up, and we can do the same thing with the head. We're going to mark off where the top of the head would be. Actually, let me see. Make sure that I'm leaving enough space. I'm going to come up a little bit higher. So the top of the head is maybe about 2.5, 3 inches up. You want to leave some space for the little Santa hat that he's wearing. So you don't want to go up too high. This would be the forehead part right there. Okay, you don't want to go so high that you're not leaving enough space for his little hat. So there's the top of his head. I've already started the side over here. I can just come over here and kind of do this. And again, we connect everything. If you need to make a correction, it's perfectly fine to erase. That's all part of the process. I'm going to make a little correction up here to the top of his head. I'm going to wipe this off. Part of why I like working with chalk pencil. It comes off nice and easy. So I'm just taking my paper towel here and cleaning this up. Now, I'm just going to make the top of his head a little bit lower. I went a little too high on that. Okay, so just a little bit. There we go. And if you see all these little extra lines that I've got here on the edges, don't worry about those. We will fix those up later. What's happening, Penny? You got it, Shane. Shane and Charlene. Okay. We got the head in place. We got the body. Okay. Now we're going to come over here. We're going to go ahead and draw in our little scarf. Now we're going to leave some space up here for the eyes. We got eyes and a nose and cheeks. We could add all those first just to make sure that we leave enough space. But just imagine where everything is. We're not going to do those now. Imagine where everything's going to sit. Don't bring the scarf up too high because then you're going to scrunch up the face too much. Kind of stay low. Okay? I'm gonna add the top of my scarf. This is no longer the middle of my scarf. As I'm looking at this, I'm going, nope, that's too high. So I'm going to come down just a little bit. This could even be the top of my scarf. But here's the top of my scarf. Okay, and I'm not going to draw the middle line just yet. I'm just going to come down on the edge like this and do the bottom of the scarf. And you got to make sure it's nice and rounded up like this, right? Rounds up, and then we're going to connect just like what we did with the rest of our little penguin. So we got the top of the scarf, and then we got the bottom of the scarf, and then we have our edges. Okay. All right, you guys take a moment with that. Let me take a look at the comments or questions to see if I missed anything. Carrie Anderson says snow and wind in Minnesota. Well, I hope you're staying nice and warm and safe over there, Carrie. Okay. So, for all of you that are joining in today, these little hearts are for you guys. Just want to give you guys a big thank you for hanging out with me today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Don't forget, please, as I always ask, make sure you share your paintings with me when you're all done. Okay, so tomorrow when we're all done with our little session, you can send me your paintings on Messenger, and then what I like to do is I'll get them all together and I'll do a big post where I share them with the Painting with Jesse page so that everybody else can get a chance to see what you guys all created. I'm going to take my pencil here and I'm going to erase everything that's on the inside of the scarf. We don't need any of that anymore. Okay, we don't need any of that. And it's okay if anything on the inside is a little bit smudgy because we're going to be painting over all of it. Okay, so on my drawing here, I can see some of my pencil lines. It's okay. We're going to paint over the top of all that. I'm not worried about it. Okay, but so we got our penguin's little body, we got his little head in place, and we got the scarf. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to start on his little hat. And first thing we're going to do is make this little white part of the hat. Now, I'm saying he on my little penguin. Your little penguin could be a she, whatever you want. Okay, you can even name your penguin Give your little penguin a cute little name. That would be awesome. If you do name your penguin, let me know in the comments what you plan on naming it. But right here at the top where the forehead is, okay, we're gonna come up like this, one side, and then on the other. Okay, we just got two little lines that are coming up, and of course, these are the sides of the white part of his little Santa hat. Then we're gonna bring these up. Now notice the highest part, the whitest part, is right about here in the middle. So we can start with that, kind of high, and it comes down, connects like that, comes down on the other side, and connects like that. Nice and easy, nothing crazy about it. Remember to not overthink it. Part of all of this is to have fun, enjoy the process. And the more you enjoy it, the more likely you're going to come back and keep doing this stuff, and then the better you're going to get. Okay, if you're stressing out a lot, if you're really worried about everything, then you're not enjoying yourself as much, and you're probably not going to want to do it as much. Okay, so one of the big things I always recommend is for everyone to just relax and have fun with it. Okay, next part of this. Let's continue with that hat. We're going to start over here. This edge that comes around like that. That's right up in here. Okay, we don't want to go too high, but this is going to curve over like this. And it's going to end up over here somewhere, right? We got his little that ball at the end of the hat, but the little point part ends up over here somewhere. If you want, so you don't go too far as you're coming down with your line, you can mark off where you want that point to be. And for me, it's going to be right there. So now I know where I want to stop. Okay. The other thing I'm going to tell you before we continue is that everyone's going to draw something a little bit differently. Everyone's going to end up with something a little bit different. Don't worry about trying to create it just like mine. Okay. If you're painting with a group, if you're painting with a few people in your house, everyone's going to create something a little different, and that is part of the fun. Okay. So don't stress about trying to make it exactly like mine. All right, next part. So we got this little part at the top. Same thing that was on this side over here, this edge on the top of his hat that comes up and goes like this. Before we continue with this part, we're going to add that in first. So right here, we're going to come up, comes over, all the way over like that. Almost touches that. This little line almost touches that line. That's not super important. You just need a line that comes up, okay? Where the hat's kind of folding over on itself. Once you've got that, from right here, you're going to come back. Now you connect to that little mark that you made with me a few moments ago, okay? Hi, Penny. Sounds good. Fantastic. You guys be safe wherever you're driving, wherever you're going. Make sure you guys are safe. And yes, that's always an awesome idea to watch the live first, and then you can come back and paint with a recorded session. That's a really good tactic there. When you're on the live, you get to ask questions, and you kind of learn, right? You watch the process, and then come back and use all that to create your own with the recorded session. Makes it a little, I think sometimes a little better for you. Okay, let's go. Let's continue here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add the little ball at the end of his hat. Now this thing's all kind of jagged, right? So we can just kind of do that by doing a little bit of a jagged edge all the way over like that. Yours may be smaller than this. Yours may be a little bit bigger. Maybe it doesn't quite look like a circle. Maybe it looks more like an oval. It's okay. Remember, it is all okay. Oh, yeah, the little Charlie Brown tree, huh? When I was making the tree, I said, let's make it into a little Charlie Brown tree. maybe the little penguin hangs out with Snoopy. I don't know. Maybe he's friends with Woodstock. But the little Charlie Brown Christmas tree was just kind of something that I felt would be nice with this painting. Nice and simple. All right. Now, we're going to forget about the face for now. We're going to come down here to our little penguin's little arms. Now, this outside line that I created, this line for the body is the outside. Okay, of course, we have the inside part. We're going to add that later. But for now, everything that you see here is the outline of his body, the outside of the body. We're going to add the little arms now. Okay, and there's a little point. They're almost like little triangles with slightly curved lines instead of being straight like a triangle would. And we're going to start right here. Okay, so I got a little tiny bit of erasing right there to do. But from right here, I'm going to come up. Okay, starting with that edge, comes up, drops back down. We don't want to go too far. And then we go like that. Connect it to the body. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. He's going to be holding his little light string, right? He's holding a little light string up before he's going to be putting it on his little tree here pretty soon. But his little arms are extended up like that because he's got that string of lights draped over them. But not too bad. That's a little easy step. Thank you so much, Carrie. I really do appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Charlene Stoven from Manitoba, Canada. How's it going, Charlene? Thank you for hanging out today. Thank you. Thank you. Hello all the way to Manitoba, Canada. Okay. What's next? We're going to add his little feet. And the little feet, pretty simple. We'll start over here on this side. Let me clean this edge up a tiny bit. Remember, erasing is part of drawing. There's almost never going to be a time that you're drawing something that you don't erase, unless you don't care what it looks like. But usually you're going to be going through and making little corrections here and there. Okay? So right here, the top of his little foot on that side. Just comes out. We'll do the sides first. The feet taper in a little bit as they attach to his body underneath, right? His little feet are under the body, so you only see part of them. But they taper in a bit here, where they're a little bit wider out towards the front. And then we got 1, 2. Just 2 little kind of curved lines where you see that form the little toes. Okay, and then we're going to go over to the other side and do the same thing. Little line at the top, little line at the bottom. Kind of do that. And then again, 1, 2. Now, from time to time, you want to take a little step back, look at your drawing from a distance, make sure that everything's where it should be, right? Everything looks right. So what I like to do is I'll just step back about 3-4 feet, and I'll take a look and go, okay, are my arms where they need to be? The feet, okay. And things are looking good. But if they didn't, and I had to make adjustments, it's a lot easier to see those from a bit of a distance, okay? So from time to time, take a little step back, look at your handiwork, and then make adjustments if you need to, and then you continue. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add the outline here on the inside. I'm going to come around. So again, just creating another letter U, but this time it's right on the inside. So right here, kind of curves around. Down here at the bottom, it's really skinny. Doesn't have to be, though. Okay, kind of like that. Let me give you guys a little close-up. Just going to erase some of these little extra lines that I have in here. Don't need them. Right here, too. Again, some of the smudginess in here, I'm not worried about it. It already looks like I created the second line for the inside on the face, but that was accidental. It just happened to work out. But we'll talk about that here in just a moment. Julie asks, if I spray a sealer on after the base coat, would it make it erasing easier? Oh, that's a great question. Yes, it could. I would say that in most cases it would. Excellent question. So there are sealers when we paint it in the background. Any painting, you could seal it with a coat of varnish. There's a few different types of surface sealers out there. You could seal your painting, protects it from smut, from elements, from dirt, from dust, etc. What Julie's asking, and correct me if I'm wrong, Julie, you're asking if you seal it first before you draw on it, can you draw over that, and then would that be easier, make it easier to erase? It most definitely could, but it depends on the type of sealer that you're using. Some sealers can be a little bit porous, and some of that, whatever you're using to draw with, may actually get pulled into the surface a little bit, and then erasing would be hard. What I would do, I would practice that first. It's an excellent technique if you're using the right type of materials. So whatever you have, I would practice that first, and it may work, but if it's porous, if it's too porous, you're going to get some of that graphite or charcoal or whatever using to go into the surfaces, and that might be hard to remove. Painting, the second part is tomorrow, Penny. Okay, second part will be tomorrow. Okay, but anyway, good question, Julie. Okay, Don, no worries. Thank you for stopping by today. Really appreciate it. Be safe. Okay, be safe. And when you're done with your painting, of course, share it like you usually do. Thank you so much, though, for hanging out at least for a little while. Okay, up here, all that's really left are the details for our penguin anyway. We're not going to draw his little, the lights, his little light string. We're not going to add that till tomorrow. Okay. The reason why we're not doing that today is because that's over all the painting, the white paint for the belly and then the black around the body. We'll be doing that part of it tomorrow. Okay. But all that's really left are the details on the face. And the same thing with the details on the face. We're not going to add those until tomorrow, unless we get a little bit ahead and do it today. We'll see. But we're not adding the eyes, and we're not adding the cheeks, and we're not adding the nose. We are going to add this black part, though. And that starts over here. I'm just kind of clean this up a little. Right up in here on the inside now. This is my outside line. It's real similar to what we did down here. We got this outside line, and then on the inside, we just kind of create a second line. We do that to both sides. Also, if you can control how hard you press down on your pencil, it can help make it easier to erase. If you go really lightly at first, it makes it easier to erase, okay? So don't press down too hard. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come in right here from the top. We're going to come down and create that little inside part that drops down into his little beak. So about right here on the right side, I'm just going to come down. It's a little curved line that does that. And then I'll do the same thing over here. Okay. And then I'm just going to connect this slightly curved for now because we're going to have that little beak. Actually, you know what? Let's add the beak. Why not? We're just going to go like this. Little curved line on top. And then at the bottom, we just kind of connect the two like this. Okay. Again, we won't be adding any detail here to the face until after we get a second coat. We get a coat of white paint on here. Probably 2 coats. Okay, but what we are going to do here in just a moment is draw in the little Christmas tree, the little Charlie Brown Christmas tree over on the right. All right. Julie, okay, so see, if I spray the sealer on after the base coat, would it make erasing easier, and would it still be able to paint it? You can paint over it. Okay, you can. There have been plenty of paintings where I've got a clear coat on it already, and then later on I come back and I see something that I don't quite like, and I can fix it. I've done that. So what the best way to do it is simply to just go ahead and do it. So I don't, depending on the sealant that you're using, would you be using varnish, or what kind of spray coat do you have? Okay, what kind of finish do you have? Let's start with that, and maybe if I'm familiar with it, because there's so many out there, I can kind of give you a little more details around that. His little beak I need to give it a little bit more of a curve over here. It might need to be a little smaller too, but we'll see. We can always adjust this. Okay. Now, let's look over here. Down here, we're going to have some snow. And just really, you know what? I'm afraid to use my charcoal pencil for this. I'm going to use a white piece of white chalk. Down here by his little foot, we have the snow bank. Just comes across all the way across like that on both sides. So let's go ahead and add that in. Goes like this. Okay. And I know this is a little bit hard to see, so let me see if I can fix that. I'm not sure what's happening with there we go, with my white chalk over there. Something's coated the surface and I'm not sure what. But there's my little snowbank. Nava, great question. So, how do we make it sparkly? I have glitter paint. Okay? These little glitter paints. You can pick these up at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, most art stores, Walmart, places like that carry stuff like this. Basically, this is glitter floating around in glue, okay? And you paint it on. At the very end, you paint it on just like you do the paint. But these are from Deco Art. There's a bunch of different brands out there, though. All it is, again, is glitter floating around in glue. Craft stores have these, I think, like places like Joann. And what that does is you can make your painting nice and sparkly by adding a coating of that after the fact. So, like, for example, over here on red, you have some red, have some gold, blue. That was a red gold combination that I used to make it look kind of orange. I have purple, but you can use that glitter to really make any painting really get nice and sparkly. Oh yeah, same thing. So I just added glitter to all those. Okay. We might be doing a little bit of painting on here. We'll see where we are. We're a little bit ahead of the curve, I think, as far as time. So we're going to do a little bit of painting. We'll add some paint here to the white parts of the penguin. We'll see. Let's do the little tree. I'm just going to draw. I'm going to start from the top, and I'm going to focus just on the tree right now. We're looking at the tree branch from about right here. I'm going to switch. I'm not going to use black for this. Let me see. Let me grab my brown charcoal pencil. My brown charcoal pencil had gone missing in action for a little bit, and I found it. So we're going to go with that. Since my tree's brown, just want to leave enough little space in between so I can put the little branches. Maybe I'm going to come down right there's good. It has a little curve to it. So it'll come down like that. Okay. At the top, it's really skinny, so I start really skinny, and I come down, and I widen this a little bit at the base. It does something like that. Okay. We have a little branch right here. Comes out. Okay. We have another one over here. And again, your little tree is going to look different than mine. That's okay. Don't worry about it. Maybe yours looks more of a traditional Christmas tree. This one, I used a Charlie Brown Christmas tree. The Charlie Brown Christmas tree for inspiration. then we got another one over here. Comes up, curls over, does that. I'm not going to add the ornaments right now. I'm not going to add the branches. And I'm not going to add the star. We'll add those tomorrow. Okay? But like I said, we got plenty of time, so I'm going to get into painting this, okay? We're going to start painting this a little bit. Just looking through the comments here really quick. All right. So, what do you guys have for me? Any questions around anything? Any of the process today? Oh, we are live, but you can back live video up. You can go backwards if you'd like. There's a new feature on Facebook, at least new to me. Over the last few months, I discovered that you can set it up so that your sessions can be backed up. You can actually go and pause it and rewind and all that good stuff. What's happening, Debbie Sanderson from the UK? Sounds good. Debbie's watching us over on YouTube. What's happening, Joy Deep? Okay, since we got a little time, let's add some white to our penguin. Okay, let me grab a little bit of my white. I'm gonna grab my mixed palette right there, my Stay Wet palette. I'm just gonna take, for this one, I'm using a little bit of craft paint. This is Anita's craft paint. You pick this stuff up at Hobby Lobby. I think I used to see it at Walmart, but somebody recently went to go look and they couldn't find it. So maybe they don't carry it over there anymore. Or maybe I'm imagining. That could happen too. I could be imagining that I saw it there and I didn't. Okay, I'm going to take a number 10 filbert. This is one of those brushes that has a curved edge. Okay, you can use a flat brush. You can use something like this, a little square one or a rectangular one. All good. Use whatever you got. Don't worry too much. What I do want to make sure is that there's no blue paint on this. And take a little bit of water. I'm going to dip it into my paint like this. There was a little bit of blue paint in my water, but it's really diluted, so I'm not too concerned about it. Now, we're going to be layering paint just like we did with the background. So coming through here, going like that. Now, again, folks, for those of you that are interested in the membership, doors are opening on Monday, closing next Sunday. Most of the details around it, besides hearing about it here on Facebook and then me posting about it, most of the main or the bulk of the details are going to be going out to the people on the mailing list, on the wait list for the membership. So if you guys are not on that list and would like to get information tomorrow when I send the details, please add yourself. I have a link in the description of the video that takes you to where you can add your name to the list. Okay, so this is my white paint. I'm just going to come around and add some to the faces as well. It's a little tiny bit transparent also, so this is likely going to require a couple of layers. No big deal. Okay. Now, I'm also going to take a little tiny bit of black. I'm going to make a really light gray. Like a touch. I'm creating a gray for the hat and for the little ball at the end of the hat. So just a tiny bit of black. Okay, a little tiny bit. And I'm just barely going to touch it like that. And then I have that. I bring it over. I've already got some white on my brush so I can mix those two together. Okay. And then a tiny bit of my blue, just a tiny, tiny bit to give it a slight bit of blue in there, just a tiny bit. It's called cooling down the color. When it has a tendency towards blue, it's considered a cooler color, as opposed to it having a little bit of red, which would mean that it's a warm color. Reds and yellows and oranges tend to be considered warm. Blues, some violets, greens. Actually, violets, it just depends which way it's leaning. Those are considered cool colors. All right. Around the little hat. In a moment, I'm going to take a smaller brush, one of my tiny brushes, to get into those little areas on the edges. Go. All right. Let's grab a little brush now. I'll take my little flat brush, little tiny thing, number 2 flat. And I'm just going to use this. I can also use one of my round brushes, little pointy ones. So come in here. Remember, folks, in the membership, we have kids sessions, adult sessions, we have drawing and painting sessions. There's a lot of stuff that's going on there every month. I like to provide lots of variety and value, but you don't have to interact with everything. You pick and choose whatever you want. If you got time for everything, perfect. If not, you just pick a few little things that you want to paint or draw, and you go with those. I have technical classes where we do things like shading or color mixing, and then we of course have full-on painting sessions all the way through. Oh, you're lost, Penny? Oh no! Listen, I can't really criticize, because don't tell anybody, but I get lost even with my GPS sometimes. Yeah. So I can't criticize. I cannot. Okay. While we're working with some white, I'm going to take just some white like this. I have some pretty flowy paint, so I don't have to add any white to it. I'm just going to come, any water to it. Not white to my white, but water to my paint. And I add it on nice and thick. Just go across like this. Okay, I just brush back and forth. Some areas it's left on a little thicker than others. Some areas are a little bit thinner. All good. Think easy. Whenever you're painting, whenever you're creating, just want to relax. Have fun with it. Sometimes we tend to overthink things, and can make it harder on ourselves than it needs to be. Especially as a beginner, that's one of the first things I would recommend is just try to relax. If you can master relaxing, learning becomes a lot easier. Your brain opens up. Okay, there we go. Here around the little tree, it's going to go up just a little bit. Okay. Snow paint, snow text. I've only used that a couple of times, Carrie. That would work. Yeah, that would work. I've only used that a couple of times. It's got the texture in it, right? If I'm remembering correctly, it's been a few years, so bear with me. It's got that texture in it, right? Snow text with glitter. Okay. Yeah, that works. That works perfectly fine. That would be really pretty. What's happening, Rachel? Thank you for stopping by. You'll do great, like you always do, Rachel. You'll do fantastically. Too funny. Okay, now what we're gonna do? Oh, you know what I forgot? Right here on the end, the rest. I forgot to add the rest of our scarf. So it's got two little parts. Okay. So they're just two little rectangles. We're going to start with the little rectangles. They come out like this. Oh, don't want to do it in brown. Where's my black? Seem to have lost my black. Oh, I put it back in where it belongs. That's why I lost it. Because I put it back where it belongs. Little square, and then another little square. The little strands at the end, we're not going to add those until we do the paint part. Okay, well, you do want to have those on there. Okay. All right. Let's take some black now. So we have about 15 minutes. About 15 minutes more. We'll see how far we can get. And then, like I said, we'll finish off the rest tomorrow morning. Okay. I'm switching brushes now. I'm going to take my little number 4 flat shader, a little brush here. I got my black paint on my Stay Wet palette. If you guys aren't familiar with these, I definitely recommend getting one of them or something similar. You can make your own. Some people I know make them. Basically, so I've got this palette paper sitting on top. Underneath it, there's a sponge that has some water in it. What that does, this paper is a little bit kind of porous. It's like a membrane. Not porous. What's the word I'm looking for? The water actually goes through it. Okay. And what it does is it helps keep my paints wet through the entire session. Highly recommend them. Just makes everything a lot easier all the way around. Okay. What I'm going to do right here is carefully outline the white part of our little penguin. Now this part right there, I didn't need to outline because that's part of his little arm. So like that. Now I can go ahead and paint in the rest of it. The reason why I broke this down into 2 parts is I want to make sure that I don't tire you guys out. I know some of you guys can paint for a long time, especially the kiddos in the group. The kiddos that are painting along maybe will have a bit of a hard time. So we break it up into 2 steps. Just a little bit easier that way. Also saves my voice a bit. Okay. Now let's paint around the face, the black part of the face. Switching brushes here. Always want to use a brush that's appropriate for what you're doing. If you're using the wrong brush, it's going to be a lot harder. And your frustration level will go up. use the right brush, it makes your job so much easier and so much more enjoyable. Also, your finished painting will come out, usually anyway, will come out nicer looking. All right. Ooh, that's a great idea, Julie. Yes, that would be great. Here and there. Absolutely. I can see that. Hi, Mary Jo. Yes. So there's 2 sessions to this, or 2 parts to this session. This is our first one. Tomorrow morning we finish it off. But both sessions are being recorded. This will be available immediately after this is over. It's actually, you can even start now and back up the session, start it over. And tomorrow's session will also be available after the fact. I'm just going to leave them up for at least a couple of weeks. You'll be able to go back to them whenever you want. Okay? Plenty of time to finish them. But all right. First layer of paint. Let's go ahead and let's do the red on the hat. Actually, before that, though, I'm going to paint the little squares in here in red. Just the red squares. I don't need to do the green squares. Or not. I don't need to draw in the red square. Or confusing myself. I'm going to draw in the red squares on the scarf. I don't need to draw in the green squares. So this little square right here, I'll give you guys a moment to catch up. Let's take a look at your comments. See if I've missed anybody's questions or comments. Okay, so I'm looking over at the feed on my laptop. Again, I just want to remind you guys, the reason why you see me looking down is because I'm looking at your comments, okay? My laptop is sitting over here. I wish I had it up here where I could do both. You know, watch the video or look at the camera, because that's the camera that I'm using to record me. That way I'm not looking down. But anyway, when you see me looking down, I'm looking at the comments, okay? If you guys have any questions for me or anything like that, please put them down below. What else would you like to know here about the membership or about our little painting today? Put it down in the comments. Don't be shy. If you're new here, first time painting with me, and I imagine some of you might be, let me know that too. Say, hey, Jesse, this is so-and-so, and I'm joining you from so-and-so. Going to give you guys some more hearts. Those of you that are still with me. We started with about 50 some people, and it looks like we're at about 43 or 42 42 devices still watching, because it's hard to, don't know how many people are watching with one device. Who knows? Some of you might be with a group of 20 people in somebody's house. All right. No questions. Hi, Linda. What's happening? Sounds good. Whenever you're ready. Okay. So here we go. My pencil, I'm using my red pencil. You can use whatever pencil you've got, okay? So I'm going to start with this little red square. I'm going to come in a little bit from the side because that square is not quite over at the edge. Now, I want you to notice something. It gets wider, okay? So there's a line that comes across like this. This line drops down. Actually, you know what? Let me draw that line just to make it easier for everyone to see. So from right here, I'm drawing the bottom part of the top part of that scarf. It comes down like this, comes over, and then comes up. Okay? And maybe needs to come down a little bit more. Doesn't matter too much. There we go. And then let's go ahead and put in those squares. We've got one square right here. Okay, we've got another square over here, slightly over to the, just slightly right of the middle part. If we were to come down the middle of our penguin, it's just a little over to the right, and then another one right over here. So 1, I'll shade it in so you guys can see it. 1, 2, 3. Tina says, "Cat just spilled my rinse water." As long as it wasn't onto your computer or something like that, or on your phone, Tina. Unless they're waterproof. Hi, Terry. Fantastic. Okay, cool. Very good. Penny, you're still lost, huh? Too funny. Okay. Square's down here at the bottom. So this bottom square starts just on the over to the left of this edge here. And again, folks, I'm just guiding you here. Yours can be a little different. Don't stress out. Okay, so let me shade that in. Okay, over here. If you have more squares than me, less squares than me, it's okay. Maybe you have polka dots instead of squares. Or maybe your scarf is just all one color, no pattern on it. Would be perfectly fine. All right, everyone, we are getting close to the end of today's session. I am going to take a little bit of red here and paint in the hat and the red parts of the scarf. So just putting a little red over here. I'm going to take one of my smaller brushes. Okay. I am grabbing a bit of water from my cup. I dip it into my cup, bring it over, and here we go. Who in here likes to draw? Or do you rather not draw, use a tracer, and then paint? No right or wrong answer. So obviously I started with the squares first. Okay. Now I'm going to take a little bit of water, once again, mix it with my paint, and we're going to paint in that hat. Fantastic, Julie. Okay, good, Terry. So it's all about practice. It's all about just doing it, getting out there and doing it. The more you do it, the better your brain adapts to it. But the fact that you like it is already a really good start. A lot of people don't like it, or maybe they didn't do too well when they first tried it, the very few times that they tried it, and so they were turned off to it. But just like with any other ability, your starting point doesn't matter. It is important, but it doesn't matter in the long run. You just do it. Yeah, Julie, I've been seeing your. Well, I know you haven't been doing too much recently, but I remember at the beginning when you first. What was it? The poppies that we drew in the membership. I saw your post, and how much you really are liking the drawing part of it. Yeah, drawing is a really fun, simple activity. I'm also going to, really quickly, I'm also going to do the little end over here, the little edge. where the scarf is kind of blowing in the wind. It's just a little part, but I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of red right there. Simple little tool with just your pencil or pencils if you're using, fancier sets of pencils. But you just got your pencil or pencil kit with an eraser, something to draw on, and you're good to go. So you can spend hours getting lost with your drawing. All right, let me do a quick assessment here. Let's see what we've got. We would have to do another layer over everything. We would draw that. We're good. Okay, we are in business. But all right, everyone. I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to just kind of catch up with everything. I think this will be the end of our session for today. Okay. Once again, tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. Pacific time, I'll be back on here. Please join me. Once again, I know a lot of people they'll get to this point and maybe finish off on their own, and that's perfectly fine. But if you can, come on in and do it with me live. I'd love to have you on here. Check your time zone, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Some of you are on the East Coast. I know we've had at least a couple of people from England jump on. So depending on your time zone, it could be very different for you. Okay. I do have a text number, and I don't have it memorized because it's not my personal number. But on the event page, in the discussion tab or on the about tab, there's a phone number that you could text the word penguin to. And what that does, it'll add you to the list that tomorrow morning, an hour before I go live, I send out a quick text letting you know, hey, I'll be going on live. Don't worry, I don't spam you or anything like that. It's just specifically for this. Afterwards, you could take your name off the list. No big deal. Okay. Also, for those of you that are interested in the membership, I know I only briefly talked about this stuff. I just want to do a quick recap. We have sessions, complete painting sessions in there, drawing sessions. Most of the painting sessions have some drawing component to it, but we also do strictly drawing sessions as well. We have sessions for adults, sessions for kids. We have people that join as a family, right? So you got the parents painting and you got the kiddos painting. We do technical sessions, little workshops around things like blending, shading, color mixing, just stuff like that will help improve your overall painting. The main thing though is we have a lot of fun in there. We support each other. We help each other grow in creating art. And I think one of the biggest things about art is its therapeutic nature, right? It's very, very kind of a meditative. There's a meditative quality about it that we really enjoy in the group. We don't sit there and meditate or anything like that, but we enjoy the therapeutic effects of painting. Although that might be a cool membership, meditating around painting. Anyway, folks, if you guys are interested, I will be posting more around that over the weekend. Also, I'm going to be sending out email details on how to join on Monday. The doors open Monday through next Sunday. And you'll have, I'll send out the details on how you're going to be joining the membership, what links you use to join, all that good stuff. If you're not on that email list, please add your name to it. There's a link in the description of the video. I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit, so I think I need to end the session today, but I will see you guys all back here tomorrow morning. All right. Okay, let me look at the comments just to make sure. Let's see. You got it, Robin. Awesome. Thank you for joining in today, Robin. I always appreciate you coming on. Terry, penguin. Yeah, you would text the word penguin to the phone number. If you look at the event tab, if you look here in the event page under the event tab where it says details, you'll see the phone number in there. If I had it right now, I put it in the comments. I don't remember what it is. Like I said, it's not my personal number. Mary Jo, you are very welcome. Thank you for joining in today. I really appreciate it. Okay, I see your comment about drawing. Definitely. No worries, Julie. You can back the video up and go from there. What's happening, Marjorie? Yeah, no worries. You got plenty of time to catch up. Okay, sounds good. Fantastic. And again, both sessions will be available for at least a couple of weeks here in the Painting with Jesse page, and then I'll end up moving them. Who knows? Maybe I'll leave this one up, but I'll end up at least having a copy in the membership group. Okay, lots of videos in there already. There's a big library of videos that people can go back and do at any time, but I'll add this to that as well. All right, everyone. I want to thank you once again. Thank you for joining me. Please join me tomorrow. Hope you all have an amazing rest of the day. Be safe, especially if you're driving and getting lost like our friend Penny. Be safe regardless, no matter what you guys are out there doing today, please be safe. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Let's look at those comments. All right. We'll see you tomorrow. You got it, Carrie. My pleasure. Awesome, Robin. Good to hear. Hi, Leah. You got it. Thank you. All right, everyone. I'll talk to you guys soon.